Your life will change in 2026. You do not have a choice in that matter. Like, it's going to change. That's the nature of reality. Everything is in a state of flux. However, if you don't do it intentionally, then you're probably going to change in a way that doesn't serve you. It's going to be a way that you don't really want. It's going to be without your consent. So, what you can do instead, rather than pretending you're just going to stay the same over the next year and hoping things don't get too bad, is you can actually change in a way that's very intentional. And we all say we want to change. We all say we want to transform our lives, we want to improve, we want to self-develop, these sorts of things. But most people get in their own way. And it's because they don't have a clear roadmap. So in this video, I'm going to give you a 5-step program so that you can transform your life in 2026 in a way that you actually want, so that you don't get bogged down in old habits and old mindsets and get the same results that you've always gotten. Because the reality is, like, you might get the same results, but you're slowly degrading whenever you do that. You're not really staying the same, you're just getting a little bit more worse for wear. So if you want to actually improve, and if you want to transform your life in a way that, you can actually be proud of, you can look back on and be like, yeah, that was a good year, then stick around because this video is for you. Now, if you don't know, my name is Nick. I'm an author and I write on Substack all about the psychology and the philosophy of winning, building personal power, and social acuity. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and follow along for more. So the first thing to do whenever you want to transform your life is actually decide on your values. Values are kind of like your big who you want to be in this world. Do you want to be somebody who values family, or do you really want to chase success? Do you want to become a social wizard? These sorts of things. Because the values you choose, they will determine everything else in your life. Like, if you believe that the world is fundamentally a fair place, that's how you're going to operate. If you believe that the world is highly competitive, life is this one big battle, then you're going to operate that way. Everything else is going to flow from that. So I would urge you to take a day, take an afternoon, write down your top values. And I've actually done this, right? I have a Word document on my computer, and then I've actually saved that as a JPEG, and it's the background of the screen it's like a widget on my phone. So every now and then I can just swipe my phone and I can see exactly my core values, those things that I want to think about, believe, and hold dear to my heart every single day. Now, you might not always live up to these core values, but it gives you a sort of guide. It gives you a sort of grounding, because when the storms of life come, it's these values that's going to ground you to the ground. They're like stakes holding your tent into the ground whenever the winds of life blow. And if you don't have these values, then you're just going to be going along with whim. You're going to be pushed along like a leaf in the wind, basically being dictated to by not necessarily reality, but society itself. You're going to simply adopt the values of the people around you, of the environment you're in, which that's fine for a lot of people, but it doesn't make for a very interesting or exceptional life. So I would urge you, first things first, before you even start to try to transform your life, is to really document the values that you want to uphold. Now, I'll pull mine up right now, because I believe my values are pretty solid. So if you look at my values, right, they're very simple, they're very basic, but they're very fundamental, right? I take 100% responsibility for all the results in my life. If I get hit by a drunk driver, my fault. What was I doing out? That sort of thing. I take responsibility for everything. Next thing, I believe the world is a fundamentally amazing place. Like, the universe is on my side. I'm a co-creator of my own reality. Next thing is, I am always constantly learning. I'm always looking for, even if I face a setback, I try to figure out what I can get out of that setback. How can I grow from that? I don't apologize for my own desires, right? I'm not a very apologetic person. If I want something, I'm going to go after it. I'm not going to beat around the bush or, skirt around the issue, apologize for it, that sort of thing. It's what I want. It's what I want. It's okay. Next thing is, I believe that mindset and belief, highly important, but the action is the most important thing. It's that action that actually puts the ball in the net, right? You can visualize all you want, You can manifest all you want, but without actually taking that action, it's for naught, right? You're just basically living in delusion. The last few things are environment and your social circle will determine your life, right? You can swim upstream, but not very long and not very fast. You can sprint uphill, same thing. How long can you do that? Not forever. So really set up your life so that you're walking downhill. Make things easy whenever it matters. Yes, you should do difficult things, but also you make your life easy by doing the difficult things. If you're just swiping your whole life away, that's a pretty terrible life versus going to the gym, meeting people, going to events, traveling, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. That's where a good life comes from, in my opinion. Presence and humility are very important to me. Like whenever you enter into a space, whenever you do it with presence, with humility, you get more out of it, in my opinion. And then finally, like I'm fine just the way I am, right? Like I don't have to be perfect because I believe that whenever I show up, I am fine just as I am. I'm not second guessing myself. I'm not like, oh, I have a little blemish right here. Maybe I should wait and record this video or something. It's okay. It doesn't matter to me. So those are just my core values. Now you can take some of these or you can create your own, but you should start with your values because again, these are the things that will keep you grounded whenever life throws a curveball. Now, after you have your values decided, it's time to focus on your vision. And your vision are your big goals. Here's how you're going to do that. You're going to make a list of 10 things you would like to accomplish in the next year. Just 10 things, just throw some stuff out there. And then you're going to eliminate 8 of them. You're going to cross them out and you're just going to ignore those because you only have enough attention, enough time, enough effort and willpower and energy to really accomplish a few things at one time. So really focus on the most important 1 or 2, maybe 3 things. 3 is kind of stretching it at any one time, but you need to really understand exactly what you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. And then once you have those 1 or 2 things, you're going to not give yourself 12 months. You're going to say, I'm going to accomplish this in the next 6 months. You need to shorten that time horizon. Don't give yourself time to procrastinate. Don't think that you have time to do this next month. Start immediately once you know what your goal is. So that's your big why vision. You can also make a to-be list, right? Make a list of different attributes that you want to embody on a daily basis. I actually have mine right in front of me. It says like presence, charisma, fun, fit, healthy, bold, outgoing, disciplined, creative, seductive, skilled, wealthy, present, that sort of thing. Now, again, of these 2 things, the goals are more important because actually accomplishing things is more important than just kind of psyching yourself up and telling you are something. And really, like, what you are is a function of what you do. It's not the other way. Like, you can tell yourself you're fit if you want, but if you don't go to the gym and if you don't eat healthy and if you don't exercise, then you're not going to become fit. So you need to really focus on putting the points on the scoreboard, taking the ball and running with it before calling yourself a player, sort of thing. Before thinking of yourself as a basketball player, you need to start shooting the ball. So focus really on the goals, focus on the vision, those big 2 things that you want to accomplish. Shorten the time horizon. Again, 12 months, too long. It's hard to abstract that far out. Get this done as soon as possible. Start working on it immediately and don't give yourself forever to accomplish things because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you might not wake up tomorrow. So unless you have been working on this, you're going to reach the end of your life and be like, wow, I really wasted that away. So I would really encourage you, like, even if you don't accomplish everything, you will feel much better about your life if you at least work towards worthy goals. So keep that in mind. That is the vision, that is the why. Next is strategy. You need to commit to a strategy. If vision is the big why, strategy is the what you're going to do to accomplish this. Now, you need to choose which tools, activities, milestones, steps you're going to implement in order to reach your goals. And you need to choose the best available resources, right? If you want to let's say lose weight, then eating at McDonald's probably isn't the best strategy for that, right? You need to maybe think about meal prep or cooking at home, or at least figuring out where you're going to eat at a regular basis in order to accomplish this goal of losing weight. You also need to anticipate the likely roadblocks, the obstacles that you're probably going to face and that are probably going to arise on your way towards this goal. If you can anticipate these before they arise and kind of mentally prepare for how you're going to respond, you are much more likely to get over that hump rather than letting it become a permanent thing that stops you. So create contingencies now for what you're going to do whenever the inevitable setback occurs. This is also where you're going to decide what you're willing to sacrifice and give up, because you can do everything you want, but not at the same time. Right? You need to really narrow down your focus. You need to figure out, like, okay, if you want to lose weight, you're going to have to give up the ho-hos, the Twinkies, that sort of stuff, and you're going to have to be fine with that. So realize what you're willing to give up. Again, if you want to get in amazing shape, you're going to have to give up some time. You're going to have to spend that in the gym. That's just what it is. Like, even if you have a really good program, you still got to do it consistently, right? You still have to give up a little bit of comfort, give up a little bit of time that you could otherwise be watching Netflix and spending that in the gym instead. It's just what it is. That's okay. But you need to understand ahead of time what you're willing to give up. And then that way it doesn't seem as much of an obstacle to you. A lot of times people don't reach the top of the mountain because they're too busy holding on to the chains that are keeping them in the valley, right? You have to let go of the things that are holding you back if you want to reach the summit, so to speak. After you have your values, your vision, and your strategy, next is your systems, right? You're going to have to change the things you've been doing if you want to get different results. So this is kind of where we really start to take action, right? You need to put yourself in the right environments, first of all, to accomplish these things. Like, if you want to work out, you need to find a gym that's close to your house, right? Don't drive 45 minutes to go to the gym and think you're going to stick to that routine. If you want to get fit, find the gym that's closest to your house. Make it as easy as possible. Have a gym bag that you use for the gym. Have gym stuff prepared. Put it in your gym bag. Have a system in place to make it easy to get to the gym. Don't think that you're just going to ad-lib it every single day and get to the gym. So you really need to find the right environment, find the right people to make things easy for you. Because, systems are where things actually happen. If you don't have a system for doing things, you're just kind of relying on remembering to do it and willpower and motivation, and that goes away really fast. This is probably why most people give up, is they haven't really committed to a system. They have like the vision, and maybe they've thought about the strategy, and then they just jump right into the action without developing the system for it. So I'll give you a quick example. Like, I like to write. And when I lived in the United States, anywhere I lived, I would always have an office. I would have my dedicated space to do writing, to do research, that sort of stuff. Now I'm a little bit more nomadic and I move a little bit more often, and I can't always get a place with, a special room just to write in. So I will find a very close cafe that's medium range price and doesn't have a lot of yapping people in it. And I will religiously go to that cafe, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, every day, every other day, that sort of thing. And that's where I get a lot of my work done, because I'm not going to sit right next to where I sleep or where I watch movies and expect that I'm going to have that same focus, that same mental state in a place where I'm normally sleeping. So I consciously choose an environment that makes it easy to focus, easy to be creative, and I utilize that environment as a trigger, as a cue, so that I can start to execute. So that's just an example of a system in place. So again, you need systems in place because, whenever you have the right equipment, the right environment, and you set aside the right time, you've scheduled it and everything, then your output is going to be so much more accelerated. So, whenever you've done that, whenever you have your system, you figured out how to eliminate distractions, how to kind of create like an environmental cue for yourself, the next thing is simply to be consistent. This is where you really start to execute. Now, you need to do this consistently, because whenever you're on a journey somewhere, the way that you will get there the slowest is by stopping. It's by taking breaks, going on detours, side missions, these sorts of things. I used to drive across the country all the time, across the United States when I was a kid, and my father would be very adamant against stopping. Like, you can hold it, here's a bottle to pee in, go pee in that, because he knew every time you pull off of the highway to go to a rest stop, to go to a gas station, you've just added 20, 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes to your travel time. And if you do that a bunch, then you've really lengthened the amount of time it takes to get somewhere. So whenever you start doing something, firstly, don't stop, right? Keep going, take as few breaks as possible. Really build up the momentum. Whenever you start to push a ball, it's very difficult to get it rolling, but if you just keep pushing it, it eventually gets easy. What you don't want to do is to let it stop rolling and then you have to get it started again. So really focus on, consistent execution. You have your goal, you know what you need to do, you have the system in place, then you just have to keep the system rolling. Very simple. As long as you don't stop, as long as you don't let distractions take hold. And obviously, life is going to happen, but you've already planned for that. You have the contingencies in place. And if you have the right systems, the right environment, then it becomes very easy to, execute on a consistent basis. So you really just have to just keep the momentum going. That's more or less it. And this is really the system. I would say the only other time you should stop, or the only other thing I would add, so to speak, is take time to review, right? Journal, write, review, audit what you're doing, and see if it's working. Don't necessarily give up too quick before it has the chance to work, but really see if you can do things better. And you can only ascertain that whenever you do take time to reflect. So, journal or do a weekly check-in. This allows you really also to celebrate your minor victories, right? Celebrate the things that you are doing well, so you get that little dopamine boost. But then also give yourself time to reflect on what you could do better and make the minor adjustments, right? Tweak things a little bit, and then again, do it, execute, come back, reflect, see if you can adjust more. Did it work? Did it not? And then you will iterate into a better form of what you've been doing, and you'll get to your goals much, much faster. So, if you follow these 5 steps, your life will drastically transform. Not in 12 months, but more likely in 6 months. And if it does take longer than that, that's okay too, right? But you'll be on route to the mountaintop, so to speak. And if you don't follow these steps, your life is still going to change, just probably not for the better. You're going to change one way or another, so you might as well change for the better. So if you enjoyed this video, I would highly encourage you to subscribe. My channel is all about practical skills that help you gain personal power, build discipline, that sort of thing. If you really want the apex skill, it's social competence, it's social acuity. And I'm getting ready to put out a course with a collaborator in a few months that will take you from complete newbie in terms of social skills to kind of a social master. So if you want to find out more about that, definitely subscribe, and I will talk with you soon.